everybody, welcome, and today we're going to do our continuing 31-day challenge. Thank you to everybody that's joining me here today. So today I'm going to do kind of a shorter version of the long that we usually do, like 1 hour. We're going to keep it really short and really precise. After this, I'm going to be live on Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott, so please be sure to check us out and tune in live. We're going to be talking about all this stuff that's happening in the world today. And so today I want to talk about something that's really important, which has to do with forgiveness. And it's one of the most releasing and most challenging at the same time aspects to overcome as a human in these kinds of interactive energies. Now, really interesting. I just posted a picture on my on my little when you click on my picture, it shows you some updates on there. I just posted a picture of two bodies, one of which was holding knots in the body, and the second had rainbow colors in the body, and they were flowing. So this is a really cute picture, and I couldn't find the exact origin of who made that picture, but this is very well known in pranic healing. And when we talk about the accumulation of stagnant energy in the body, this is exactly what we're talking about. So when we hold on to massive amounts of information that don't flow through the body, this is what happens. We end up creating knots of energy in the body that don't flow. And so that really causes a problem, because over time, this stagnant energy turns into illness, into resentment, long-term emotions, and more difficult to deprogram is programs of thought forms that are really just defining our behavior and how we look at people, and most importantly how we see ourselves. So it's a very paralyzing emotion to be keeping in the body. Okay, so that has to be something that we have to work with. And I know that this is one of the hardest things to work on for some people, because some of us have experienced some terrible things in life. You know, a lot of you that have sessions with me, we've had a lot of trauma in life. And some of the things that we feel that we've experienced can be felt or observed as impossible to forgive. Some things are, completely unacceptable. Now, when we look at the concept of forgiveness, something that we need to come into really quick is the understanding of the dualistic nature of all things. Okay, and that's going to be the first thing that we need to begin to understand. All living things, everything, down to the molecular level of your body, from the right to the left side of your body, we are an expression of duality. Okay, and so individually in our emotions and as a whole, as a collective, we're also an expression of duality. So in everything, we're going to be seeing light, dark, feminine, masculine, positive, negative. And so the trick is, as a human, as this infinite consciousness that comes into the physical body and is experiencing all possibilities through those experiences, that when we have these things come up, when we have experiences and exchanges, we don't sit and put judgment on them. We just observe. We observe, we watch, and we look at how these expressions are, feminine, masculine, the duality within those expressions, okay? Now, I understand that when something terrible is happening to you, it is hard to look at it like that and kind of observe just from that third-party perspective. But this is going to help navigate you more into the present moment, okay? And a lot of the trauma that we're bringing up in our body, and a lot of the trauma that's making up the programs of belief that are defining our personalities, are usually in the past, okay? Some of these traumas that we've had in the past are surfacing now, especially as we're healing as a collective, like what's happening now in the world around us. We are collectively coming into a stillness point where we're being made to really look and observe at all the emotions that have been bubbling up over the past couple of years that have not been addressed are now coming up to be addressed. right? And so the invitation is to work with those emotions that are going to come up, and they're going to feel kind of uncomfortable sometimes, and begin to work with them, okay? So that being said, when these emotions come up and we don't address them, we don't feel them, we don't sit with them in order to explore them and understand them, we become slaves to these emotions, okay? They basically define who we are, because if we haven't sat with an emotion, it is running the subconscious program in the back of the mind. And anytime that something triggers that emotion, and these triggers are very complex, they're not so simple. It can be a word that someone says, it can be an emotion that someone feels that you pick up, okay? Because we are subtle energy bodies. We are multidimensional beings that are receiving information in many different ways. So the more that we get to know ourselves, the more we can kind of understand how these exchanges are occurring and how they affect us, okay? And so little by little, as you sit with these programs, as you sit with these emotions, you become acquainted with how you are interacting with your pain, the trauma, and how it comes up as traumatic patterns that define the relationships that you have. And this really segues into working with our ancestral family and our lineage, okay? So today I had the pleasure of doing family constellations with a very good friend of mine, and I suggest you check her out. It's the first time that I've done family constellations. How many of you have done family constellations? Write it down below. Let me know what you thought about it. I'd love to hear your feedback and your ideas of it. It was very interesting because we mapped out the family lineage, and we were able to identify through that family constellations kind of in person who were the head players and where the imbalance of the feminine masculine energies were, okay? So that was very interesting. And as you work with that, there becomes an opportunity to work with that trauma, to work with the forgiveness that really needs to happen there. Because the forgiveness is not just for those people or to allow them to get away with what they're doing or to say that what they did was okay. The forgiveness is to release, just like that picture, all those knots that are within us that cause resentment, anger, fear, anxiety, doubt, and all of these things you're going to realize are not about them. They're about you. They're about you and how you feel about yourself and how you see yourself. So it is incredibly important to begin to work with this kind of heavy emotion that we have within us, because again, it begins to rule our lives. So I'm going to take you on a little journey to work with me today, and we're going to be looking at these little aspects of forgiveness, and I'm going to do a separate video on this which goes separately into individual. So forgiving the self, which is one of the hardest things for a lot of people to do, is to actually forgive themselves. Sometimes it's easier to forgive others, but when it comes to acknowledging your own suffering, your own pain, it becomes really hard for us to forgive ourselves. And there's another aspect of this that goes down the ancestral lineage, because as you know, we are working with repetitive patterns that are coming up, and we're kind of addressing those emotions that come up because we are a product of our mother, father, and all of the lineage that went down that line. So all of the pain and suffering that they've experienced in life is something that we're also faced with. Why? Because we incarnate, we come into the lineage specifically after journeying, and we'll talk about that more in depth, and I have talked about it in other videos, in order to heal, to integrate the lessons that are occurring in this lineage as a whole. Okay, so there is no mistake of why you are in your family. So all of the things that have happened in family, and sometimes some of these traumas are really, really deep and very tough things to look at. But you know, I just want to remind you and let you know that every exchange that has happened in our life is for a reason. And soon, if we can begin to be more of an observer state at what happened here, we can only meet people at where you are in that moment. Okay? So the more that you work on yourself coming into this opening, this expansion, the ability to unconditionally love, then you can be able to see the truth, really, what is behind that. Now, in order to work on this stuff, it really requires working with that state of observation, because we need to see what is really true. A man that causes harm to a woman is a product of harm, and his father was a product of harm, and his father was a product of harm. So if that's all they know, they don't have the tools in order to provide love and safety and protection for this woman, and vice versa. A woman that's a product of trauma, pain, and suffering is a product of her mother, grandmother, so on and so forth. And so these people don't have the tools to be able to provide love and support in that way, even nurturing mothers, right? And so we come into the world, we experience these things, and we innately, as infants, we realize there's a disconnect, because we know that we come from love, this wholeness, but we come into fragmentation, and we experience the fragmentation through the expression of the mother and the father, okay? So everything that we're learning from those two expressions is basically identifying how we're going to see the world in the eyes of how a man should behave and how a woman should behave and how we should behave. Our expression of the masculine, our expression of the feminine. Think about that. That's really huge. And that really just defines your entire relationship with yourself. So there's a lot of work to do there. And so forgiveness is really one of the most freeing energies that can help you dissolve all of these knots of programs that have caused you the trauma, the pain, the suffering. And it is through the state of observation, acceptance, love, compassion, that we're able to process and release a lot of these programs, okay? So I'm going to run you through there, my love. I'd like you all to inhale deeply and get really nice and grounded. And we're going to go right into it, okay? Inhale deeply and exhale. Very good. And as you inhale and exhale, I want you to begin to visualize as you're going to ground yourself. You're going to come into your body as per usual. You're going to begin to notice your body, okay? Notice the emotions in your body. Okay. And you were just going to come into a complete state of neutrality. So go ahead and release all of the emotions that are in your body right now, letting all of that go so that you can come into a state of complete relaxation. Surrendering to this moment, coming into that state of observation, okay? Releasing all judgment of ourselves and of anything else in this moment, just taking it home. Inhaling deeply and exhaling. Very good. So now that we have come into this nice neutral state, I want you to begin to think of someone that is difficult to forgive, okay? Think of one person. Some of you have done a lot of work, but take a look at that, or maybe even yourself. So let's bring them up. Bring up this person that's so hard to forgive. Let's take a look at them in front of us. And of course, we are grounded down to the center of the earth. I invite you to begin to control the energetic centers, so closing root, sacral, solar chakra, opening heart, throat, and third eye. Breathing, inhaling, and exhaling. And as you see them in front of you, I want you to begin to observe, okay? I want you to go back to that moment where there was this trigger, okay? An event that was exchanged between this person that caused us deep resentment or anger or an inability to forgive or let go of something that occurred. So go ahead and see them in front of you. Take a look at them. And as you go back in your memory to this moment, okay? I want you to observe them. What are they doing? How are they interacting? Take a look at the moment. Take a look at the exchange that happened. What are they doing that causes us pain or suffering? Go ahead and observe that. Very good. And as we see them in front of us, we're going to shine our crown chakra on top of them, and we're going to see a contract. Okay, take a look at that contract. This contract represents all of the programs that are mirrored between you and them. So as you dive deeper into this exchange, into this event that happened between you and them, notice all of the emotions that come up for you. And I want you to identify how they serve you, how those emotions serve you, okay? Identifying how those emotions serve you and how they don't serve you. Just take a look at them, observe them. You're just observing and noticing information about yourself, about your emotions. Okay, take a look at the other person now. And I want you to observe them and notice their actions and their reactions. Just observing them, identifying. What does that person need in order to not behave that way? Just observe that. Take a look at what do they need? What does anyone need in order to not behave that way? Take a look at that. You're just observing, you're just watching. You're just noticing. We're not going to put judgment. We're just observing the behavior. Okay? And now go back and take a look at yourself. And I want you to see what you need in order to not respond in the way that you respond. Okay? What do you need? What's missing? What feels that is missing? And I want you to identify if there's patterns, if there's similarities, if in some way this lack or this need is mirrored in the person in front of you, this person that is behaving in that way. Okay? Just notice that. Inhale deeply and exhale. Okay. Now I want you to go ahead and visualize that we're going to allow this person to go, and we're going to see if you can forgive them, if you can let go of all the things that occurred now that you are more informed as to what is occurring here in the exchange. See if you can release some of this. And you're going to destroy that contract that's in front of you. Go ahead and destroy it completely. Okay? Releasing all of those programs. You're going to go deeper. You're going to go deeper into this, and we'll revisit it more too. But as you see that person, you're going to visualize cutting cords with them, cutting on their end, and you're going to remove out of your body all of that heaviness that you've been holding on since this event in your body. So I want you to tap into your body. Where are you holding on to all of that heaviness? And with a very deep breath, you're going to inhale and exhale, releasing everything out of the body. Okay? Let it go. Let it go. Inhaling. Breath is incredibly important because breath is directed energy, right? So when we have stagnant energy in the body, we're storing all that stuff. So let's push it out. Let's release it out of the body. Okay. Very good. Okay, you're going to notice an immediate shift in the body, a movement. But now we're not done yet. I want you to see yourself in front of you now. after you let that person go. And I want you to take a look at yourself. Really take a good look at yourself. Okay? See yourself in front of you. Notice the pain. Notice how this pain dictates our emotions. Notice how this pain dictates patterns of behavior in our life. Okay? Notice how that resistance to forgive or to let go may harm or hinder your expression. Okay? And see if it feels better to release that heaviness. Okay? And notice that if you release that emotion, it doesn't take anything away from the experience. Okay? So you've had that experience. We accept the experience. We acknowledge that it happened. But this emotion doesn't need to define who you are. So as you let that emotion go, because emotions are just information, they're just tools, we allow it to leave our body. Okay, we've received everything that we needed from this exchange, and it is more compassionate and loving for you to release these heavy emotions. So see if you can love yourself so much enough to finally release all of that heaviness that you're holding in your body. This is the biggest act of compassion, is acceptance and forgiveness of yourself. So once you have accepted this event, go ahead and forgive yourself. I want you to fill yourself up. You're going to visualize a color that represents forgiveness. And you're going to surround this body with this forgiveness, allowing it to penetrate into the pores, the flesh, the muscles, the bones, down to the cellular level, transforming any darkness in the body, releasing all of that tension in the body, letting go of any resentment. And you're going to notice the body really becoming more fluid. A lot of us tend to hold feminine resentment in the hips and the lower back. And for men, we tend to hold it in the solar plexus and the chest. So depending on who you're having the resentment with, you'll notice that part of the body is the one that's really aching or holding on to that heaviness, okay? And there's more than one part of the body that stores this information. So observe your body. What else needs to be released, okay? Let all of that go with an inhale and exhale. Let it go. This is the kind of awareness that we want to train ourselves to come into, the compassionate awareness of our body, so that we no longer have to suffer in the illusion of the need to sustain that suffering in the body, okay? Because that is not really necessary, okay? So as you let that go, you're going to surround yourself with love, and you have accepted yourself with your story as it is, but the story doesn't define us. The event does not define us. We are free, and we have the ability of expressing ourselves as expansive as possible at any time, because we are so worthy. Okay, so I want you to take back that fragment of yourself in your body. As you integrate, you're going to inhale and exhale, releasing all of that tension out of the body. Very good. Coming into a state of neutrality. You're going to open that root, sacral, solar back into balance, the heart, the throat, the third eye in a straight line up your body, back into a balanced state. And you're going to connect up to source, bringing yourself into a state of empowerment. And as the master of your body, your mind, and your life experiences, nobody can harm you. Nobody can ever take anything away from you or define you. Okay? So thank you so much for joining me today. I would love to have made this much longer, and I will. There's so much more to unpack with this. It's a huge topic and got a lot of work to do. So thank you for joining me. I'm going to be going live right now on The Spiritual You with Dave Scott. That's my monthly radio show. Please come check us out if you want to come and hang out and chat with us, okay? I really welcome your questions, and I can take them there. All my love. Take care and have a great day. See you soon. Thank you for being here, guys. Thank you. Carlos, Jill, Irene, Unique, Louise, Unique, Lily, Caroline, Anna, Beatrice, Jose, Juan. Hey, Juan. Happy birthday, Juan. It's Juan's birthday this week. Adam, John, Pilar, Elena, Maggie, Susanna. Hey, Tana. Hi, Tana. Awesome. Be sure to check out Tana. Tana's going to be on the radio. I think it's this Saturday, right? Is that right, Tana? Check out Tana. Tana's an awesome psychic. Adam, I love Adam. Hi, Adam. So good to see you. Peace and love. Robert. All right, my loves. Thank you so much for being here, and talk to you soon.